Insect Newick review of Kavanaugh et al. 2021 phylogeny of ground beetles, a supertribe, which is not really a commonly used rank. Data is on Dryad, and it's one of these Nexus format files from Mesquite with a huge number of stuff in there. It's not another single file with a single tree, which would be a lot easier. And you can see hundreds of individual trees. These are bootstrap trees. More bootstrap trees. So when you get a huge number of stuff in a single file, it takes a minute to find something. Concatenated ML tree, which is presumably what we would use. We have some single gene trees which are not so useful. We have what seems to be trees from different genomic partitions, and then so one thing is they haven't exactly specified their best tree or their preferred topology, which will be a lot more useful, but we'll make a reasonable guess is we'll just take this tree here. So to use this, we just need to extract from this large file of a lot of different stuff. We just need to extract this single line, this bit, and the terminal specification all the way up to here to begin trees. So just pull out this part, put it in a single file, and then that can be, we can read that single tree. I think ideally you just have your single best tree you produced in a study, which is, what your figure 1 or whatever, you'd put this in just as a single Newick string in a single file, so people don't have to go through a bit of hassle to find out, to pull that single thing out. That would be my suggestion. But then, so pull out that single tree. You can then convert to Newick format quite easily, and we can take a look. Now, the good thing about this, they actually have rooted this as per their figure. A lot of authors don't bother with their machine readable versions. They'll just have an unrooted version, but this is rooted, so we don't need to go through that. And most of the terminals are in quite a basic, easy to use format, genus and species with underscore. But we see a few codes on here. If you attached codes to the end of the what it seems these are, well, we have so we have a species repeat, so we have conspecific data, 2 terminals from the same species, and 2 codes. So we can only guess that these are some geographic codes. Maybe these are from a different location. But when you have, this is kind of an expected configuration. 2 members of the same species, and they are quite short evolutionary distance between them. And then this is variation which is not really needed, given that most of the tree is at the species level. To have a 1 or 2 species repeats is not really necessary. I think it should be removed. Now there are other cases where you have, which is more reasonable, you have 3 terminals from the same species. I'll just guess these are from different locations, and this is what the codes are. But you can see this member of species is not, so this is not monophyletic, so this is reasonable to to include. So there's various reasons this may occur. This may be a species complex, or maybe just a misidentification. It could be some feature molecular evolution. There's various things, but it's reasonable to have this. If you find this situation, then you can reasonable to include this. Here we have species and almost identical to a terminal with no label. So this is clearly this is from the same species, and this would not be needed. This is unnecessary here. Again, we have non-monophyletic species. And we have a code. So a species ambiguous terminal with some code. This could be, I don't know, could be a location, Yunnan or something. I'm just a wild guess. But without any further information, there's not much we can do about this. So this just needs to be pruned. And more species, let's say this is an unnecessary species repeat, because these are, as expected, near identical, so these can be, well, these need to be dereplicated. But for the majority of terminals, these are in quite a nice format and will be easy. Well, we don't even need to process these. There's one particular, I've just noticed it again. I fixated on this because this doesn't look like a traditional, like a Latin species name. Wyeast. It's quite unusual. So I did check if this is this could be, it doesn't look like a Latin word. So I checked online, and it seems this is a subspecies of this. But I'm not, obviously I'm not an expert on these. But possibly there's some subspecies labeled as species, and some normally, if that was the case, then I think normally you should have the genus, species, and then the subspecies name after to denote that, if that was the case. But anyway, but for a large part, this is nice. A large tree is going to add a lot to the synthesis, and most of the terminals will be easy to process. We had one. So generally, you shouldn't have white spaces or what you call a white space or blank in your terminal IDs, and they have this. So some software will account for this. It will use anything. It will have put single quotes into where you have this. But generally, you should be having underscores in your species IDs. And these two terminals which had this were labelled with some what seems to be the colour of the specimen, which obviously can't really be used. So I just change this to Nebula underscore species and remove one of these. So we have species repeats which need to be removed, and that's pretty easy to process. And so 13 species repeats removed, 24 species ambiguous congeners, and they remove those also. And that was it, and it is already routed, so pretty easy to process. Kavanaugh et al. Multi-gene analysis, and reasonably large, over 200 species available on Dryad. So you can see I'm currently going through Coleoptera. So I already made a synthesis tree of Coleoptera, which I uploaded to Insect Philo. Now I did this with actually very few source trees, unlike the other ones. The reason for this is there happens to be particularly two really huge trees available for coleoptera, and so you get a huge number. So these are already very informative, but generally, so for the second version of the coleoptera synthesis, I'll do a large phase of compiling source trees, and I've just started that on here for this one. Anyway, the processed version, all neat and tidy, and very easy to integrate with other stuff. So, job done.